Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Justin MIRIGLIANI. Good to see you, everybody, or at least hope you're seeing me, and hopefully you'll chat in. Mondays come quick, and I had to think of a good topic to talk about, and I thought of one yesterday, and I sent it into Dr. Jacqueline, and it's one that kind of is interesting to me. It's all about dreams. What do dreams mean? Do they mean anything, or do people visit you in dreams? Is it coincidence? Is it real? What is it all about? And that's really what the topic of tonight's show is going to be. Growing up, I had dreams. When I would sleep, once in a while, I would have dreams, and some of them I remembered, and some of them I can still remember. I might have had a dream. I remember ones from being little, that maybe 5, 6 years old, that either were scary or were very happy, whatever it was. But those were few and far between. There weren't many that I would remember. And then in 1998, I was 20, almost 24, 23, turning 24. And my grandfather went in for heart surgery. He had to have, I think it was quadruple bypass. And from that point forward, I dream now every single night. And I don't know if that was just triggered by something that it was the first time in my life at 23 that I had to worry about a family member potentially dying. And I do remember being at his house right before surgery and him saying, this is where the will is, and this is where this is, and this is where the money is, and all those things that he was telling my mother and father just in case he didn't make it. And that was traumatic for me. Even at 24, I didn't want to even think about it because, again, I had never experienced loss in the family really. And the dreams just started from then, and it's continued now. I'm 50 years old. So that's quite a long time for that to happen. But I dream every night, and I remember them every night. I remember them every day. And one of the things that it doesn't scare me, but it makes me wonder is sometimes I actually wake up talking or wake up saying something or reciting something from the dream, which is, I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if that's abnormal, normal, whatever it might be, but it's comforting and worrisome at the same time. It all obviously depends on what the dream is. Now, last night's dream that I had, just to give you an idea, was at one, and there are many dreams per night. It's not just one. But one part of my dream last night was my brother and I were kids, and my brother was being attacked by a dog, and I grabbed the dog, and I was holding it by the collar, and the dog was still trying to go after my brother. So I had the dog in my left hand, his collar in my left hand, and in my right hand, I was trying to punch him to stun him or at least get him off. And I threw a punch, and it was the weakest punch I think I could ever throw. And I threw another one, and it wouldn't. For some reason, my arm was moving in slow motion. I couldn't actually haul off and really hit that dog hard because, and I was like, why am I having so much trouble punching this dog? And I woke up, and I have a body pillow that I hold on to for just to feel more comfortable sleeping. The way I'm built, I'm really round, so when I'm on my shoulders, it's sore. So I like to have a body pillow that I could hold on to and put between my legs, and my hips feel good with that. And anyway, I had this body pillow, and I woke up pounding it. I threw about 4 or 5 punches that I can remember on this pillow, and then I came to and thought, wow, what, this has spilled over into real life. What just happened here? And I guess it's a lot like people who will sleepwalk, and I never do that. It never happens, but or at least that I know of. But yeah, I mean, I've recited things. Last night it got physical with a pillow. Thank God it wasn't a something that was I hit a person or anything like that, and it wasn't violent, but it was more of a reaction to something that was scary. Now, other dreams can be euphoric. I have dreams about relationships that are just incredible. I don't think when you can, one of the great things about having your first love is that it's your first love, and you can't replicate that. It's a one-shot deal. You get to enjoy that, and that's the beauty of it, that you only get it once. The sad part of it is you only get it once, so you never relive that. So it's a double-edged sword. Now, people say this about the Stanley Cup in hockey. One of the great thing, one of the Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest hockey players ever, said one thing he wishes that is that every player who played in the NHL would win a Stanley Cup to know what it feels like. But at the same time, the whole reason why it's so special is because not everybody gets the chance to win a Stanley Cup. And I equate that to what first love is. You get that first love, and it's euphoric. It's something that's beyond what you can imagine. And then after that, it's not the first one anymore. So I have dreams of relationships that are euphoric, like the first time I fell in love with someone in college. And it's just a great feeling. And then you wake up, and I don't know how I feel. I feel some ways, wow, that was great. In other ways, it's a little disappointing to know that you're not in the situation that you just dreamt of. That's just not reality. It's a little bit of both. I had a dream in 1997. 1997 was a terrible year for me. Terrible year for me. It was my senior year of college, and nothing went right. Everything went wrong. Oh, Dr. Jacqueline just put in a chat. Let me see what it says. I used to have dreams for years that something was chasing me and I couldn't speak. I've had those too. Yeah, I've had those too. I tried to yell, but nothing would come out. I'd wake up sweating. Finally, the dream stopped. Well, I looked into it, and apparently I felt I was not being heard in real life. That's a great point. And that's what we're trying to figure out today. What is the subconscious meaning of these dreams? So Dr. Jacqueline being chased and not being able to speak was a product or a byproduct of her not feeling heard in reality. And I think that's what a lot of these dreams are about. They are about what we feel that we just don't think about or verbalize while we're awake. It happens while we're unconscious. And you got to remember one thing. We talk about subconscious and unconscious. There are two different things. Unconscious is when you are not thinking, when you're not awake. So when somebody says, I unconsciously uh, uh, opened the wrong bottle, or I unconsciously sent an email to the wrong person. No, you didn't unconsciously. You subconsciously did that. Unconscious is when you are not conscious. That's the difference. It's a little pet peeve of mine, to be honest with you. It's something when people say I did this unconsciously. No, you did it subconsciously, not unconsciously. Unconscious is you're not awake. You're not conscious. But the unconscious brain, and I am not a neuroscientist, I'm not a psychologist, I don't have any training in that. I only know what I know from what I've been through is that what happens in real life does surface in the dreams that you have. But going back to 1997, nothing went right. Nothing went right. I love college. College was great. I went to Cabrini College from 93 to 97. Was the greatest 4 years of my life. I enjoyed every second of it. It was one more shot to be a kid. It was one more shot to be euphoric and to everything's great because you're an adult and a child at the same time. You get to be both. You get to be both. That's the only time in your life you get to be both. I think childhood is wonderful. I think college time is wonderful. And adulthood is good, but it's never the same as what childhood is. I've always been looking and searching for that feeling again. And I haven't found it. I just haven't. Except for my kids being born. That would be about it. But that feeling of euphoria just doesn't happen, you know. Like when you're a kid and Christmas morning and you open up the gifts, that's euphoria. When you're 9, 10 years old or even younger, you're just over the moon about everything, and that doesn't happen after you hit a certain age. Or when you meet a hero. If I meet a professional hockey player who um, is a current player who's 20 some years old, I'm not awestruck rather. I am, I'll shake hands with the person and talk to them, but it's not the same thing. When I'm 10 years old and I met one of my heroes who were playing back then, yeah, that made a big difference. But not now, not at 50, and it can't. That's the beauty of childhood. Once again, you get one shot at it, and that's it. And sadly, that's it. But that's the other part that makes it great. So anyway, 1997, greatest after a great college career, enjoyed it so much. It was like a high school. It was such a small college, and just everything went bad in the second half of my senior year. I had been with a girlfriend starting in the summer of '96, which was the year before, and that relationship was coming to an end in the spring of '97. I was graduating. Not to toot my own horn, but I was a big fish in a small pond. I was on the homecoming court. I was voted most friendly, best body, all these different wonderful things that you would think, wow, as a kid, this is great. That will not buy you a cup of coffee at Wawa, but when you're 22 years old, you think you're on top of the world when you see those things. And I thought, wow, this is cool, but it was ending. It was falling down. So I'm losing my college life, and I'm going from this big, being a big person in a small pond, big fish in a small pond, losing my relationship, losing my college, the place that I really called home for 4 years. One of my favorite professors got very sick that year, and loved her a lot, and she survived. She survived, thank goodness, and I still see her today. And but at the time, we didn't know that she was going to be okay, and it was very upsetting to me. I had an internship that I hated. I didn't like being there. I wanted to be back at college with my friends. I felt like I was running out of time anyway. And now I was out of the school for, the whole morning and didn't come back until the later afternoon. It just was one thing after the other. Deaths. I remember there was after I had my girlfriend and I had broken up, we ironically we went out to dinner with a bunch of people, and she was there, and another ex-girlfriend from college was there. So I had two ex-girlfriends from college, and another girl who I just met that night. And I was talking to her, and she was laughing and having a good time, and I was flirting with her and thinking, okay, well, maybe this is something good. And she went to the bathroom, and her mother and her aunt said, "We want to thank you." And I said, "For what? What did I do?" And she said, "Well, I want to thank you because she hasn't laughed like this in a long time. And I said, well, why not? What's going on? And she said, they said her boyfriend was killed in a car accident like 3 weeks ago. And, when you have all this going on, even for me, that was traumatic. I know it didn't happen to me. I didn't know the gentleman who was killed, but in that position, your two ex-girlfriends are there, and you meet this person, and then you find out about this issue, which was as tragic as it gets, right? She was driving a car, and he was killed in an accident with her driving. Um, we had a band come and play for us for senior weekend, or senior week rather, and they were named Phoebe and Brian. I don't know if anybody remembers Phoebe and Brian, but they were around the Philadelphia area, and we were all talking about how beautiful Phoebe was. All the boys had a crush on Phoebe, and the girls were really close to Phoebe. And Phoebe said on the night before graduation, the Saturday night, we were graduating on Sunday. Phoebe said, "Come to the pub, and I'll have a special surprise for you." So the girls drive to the pub, and when they get there, they found out that Phoebe was killed in a car accident earlier that day. I mean, it was just, and we had just been talking about her, we had just been saying how beautiful she was and how it would be great to meet somebody like that and date somebody like that. And all of a sudden she was gone. And it just cast a pall over everything. And we do have a comment. So let's take that, and then I'll finish the story as we go along. So let's say, hey, there's Shaq. Oh, no, it's Kevin. So Kevin is saying Craig Shapiro, and then I don't know what you're saying after that, Kevin. I just see the ellipsis. Hey, Claire, how are you? Thanks for coming in. And Claire said, hey there. 2 years ago, after my mom died, I had a dream on December 27th that my mom visited me. And I said, I just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. Then she gave me a big hug, and it felt so real. And that's Rachel Stein who came is saying that. So that's really cool. And Rachel says, I awoke with so many feelings. Rachel, thank you. I know you're here every week, you and Antoinette, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing that. And Claire says, totally does. Yeah, no, I agree. Claire says, I always laugh with you. It's great to laugh. Yes, it is. It always is fun to laugh. Yeah. There's Shat. I'm here, Justin. I love my college experience. So many memory stories. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a wonderful, wonderful time. But going back to the story, so all this death is around me, all the bad stuff is around me, the end of relationships, the end of all this, the beautiful things that I had in my life, and going to work in a job I hated, and it was a nightmare. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And the only thing I could equate it to is what I went through this year when I had my really what amounts to a nervous breakdown this year. That's the only thing. Those are the two worst periods of my life by far. It's not even close. So anyway, it was if you go back, it was March of '97, and I was working in a bank right before graduation, and I had a look on my face that I was just out of it, devastated, just completely strung out and just hurting like crazy. And there was one bank teller. Her name was Betty, and Betty came to me, and every time I came into the bank, Betty would come running and say, "Is that my Justin?" And she'd come running over, and she'd give me a big hug. She was Italian, I'm Italian, and she'd give me a big hug, and we talk, and we would talk about all kinds of different things, Italian dinners, and she was like a grandmother to me. In the bank, it was a really neat relationship to have with her. And I don't even know if we would still be close today or not. But in any event, as I said before, I was at this co-op, and all this stuff is weighing down on me already. And let me go back. Betty, on that in March, when she saw me so upset, she pulled me aside and she said, "What's going on?" And I told her, "Well, my girlfriend and I broke up, and I'm really hurting about it." And she said, "It's okay." She said, "Don't be." I remember the words, "Don't be sad or don't be blue. She just wasn't the right girl for you." And it rhymed, actually. I don't think she meant to do that, but subconsciously it rhymed. So don't be sad and don't be blue. She wasn't the girl for you. I said, "Yeah, I get it, Betty." got in the car, drove home, and we had tickets to see the Flyers hockey team. For those who around the world who don't know what that is, it's an ice hockey team in the United States. We had tickets to the Flyers game in Washington, Landover, Maryland, just outside of Washington. And I went upstairs and I told my father, I said, I'm not going to go. I just don't, I don't feel it. I just want to go to bed and sleep. And my dad was like, no, you can't do that. You got to go. You got to go. You got a ticket. This is a one shot opportunity. Go. All right. And I told him what Betty said. I said, Betty told me, don't be sad, don't be blue. She just wasn't the girl for you. And my dad said, you know, Justin, that's a good friend. Somebody who's going to tell you something that may uh, not be something you want to hear, but something you need to hear. And I said, Dad, you're right. And I said, the next time I see Betty, I'm going to give her a big hug and thank her. So I went to the game. I took the ticket. I went to the game. I struggled. It was not easy. I didn't enjoy it as much as I would have, but I got through it. Next day was Easter, I remember, and we celebrate Easter in our family. And then about 2 weeks later, I'm at the co-op, and there was a message at the house to call the bank. No problem. I thought they wanted me to pick up another shift. I called the bank, and one of the tellers who I knew very well answered the phone. And I said, I think her name was Christine. I said, hey, Christine, how's it going? She said, Justin, I got something to tell you. And I said, okay, what? Do you need me to work or something? She said, Justin, I really, it's something that I need to tell you. I said, okay, go ahead. And she said, Justin, Betty was in a car accident. I said, oh my God, is she okay? And then she said, Justin, Betty died. And I remember my knees buckled. I actually remember my knees buckled and I fell into a chair and I could not move. I could not move. And I just sat there and it was just one more devastating punch. It was like I was ready to fall down in a ring, in a boxing ring, and I just took a Mike Tyson uppercut to the chin. And it was just like, that's it. I got nothing left. I'm done. And I remember bodily functions didn't even work. I tried to urinate, for instance, and not to be graphic, but it took me half an hour to do it, to try to urinate because my body literally seized. I just could not function. That's how bad it was. So fast forward, I'm a sentimental person. And what would have been the 1 year anniversary of myself and my girlfriend being together, I was watching a Mike Tyson fight, the one where he bit Evander Holyfield's ear. And I was watching that fight. I was laying in bed and I was crying and I was writing poems and doing all the stuff that young kids do when they're 22 years old, 23 years old, and struggling with something. And just was a miserable night. I just remember being just so out of it. And I went to sleep. And in that night, at some point in that night, I was in the bank, and there's Betty in the bank. And I said to Betty, "What are you doing here? You're dead. Well, how are you in the bank?" And Betty looked at me and said, "What did I tell you?" And I said, "Yeah, I know what you said, Betty." And she said, "Didn't I tell you don't be sad, don't be blue? She's not the girl for you." And I said, "Yeah, Betty, that I know. That's what you told me." And I said, "But you know what? I'm upset." And she said, "What are you upset about?" I said, "Well, I never got a chance to hug you and thank you." And she said, "Well, you just did." Now, you can look at that like it was coincidence, and maybe it was. I don't know. It might have been coincidence, but I don't look at it that way. I look at it that Betty was saying months later. This was late June, so when Betty died was March. You know, it's months later, and I think she knew that from where she was, which I believe is heaven, she needed to comfort me. And she came and did. And it was great because I felt like I did get to thank her. Something that I never thought I would do. I would never see her again because she passed away before I had the chance. So that's a dream that I treasure even now. I mean, we're talking about that was 1997. So we're closing in on 30 years since that dream. And that was just amazing. So I believe that I saw her in that dream. So that was another good one. Some of them, there's Robert Thomas. What's up, Robert? Yeah, he says, "What's up, bro? How you doing, bro? Good to see you." Robert is a great weather forecaster. He's on my weather forecasting page. He does a great job, and he's done it nothing else but enhance that page. It's just fantastic, and I'm grateful for what he's done and what he does. So thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Um, some of the dreams are really bad. I mean, some of them don't leave me feeling good afterwards. One of them was we were in a field, and I will be the first to admit I'm not great with loss. Loss is something that I don't take well, especially if it's a person, um, or especially a family member, somebody who's close to me. I don't like to lose anything. Dr. Jacqueline, do we have another comment? I just want to field that if we do, or was that Robert? I don't know if that was Robert's comment or. Oh, okay, it was Robert's comment. So thanks again, Robert. So losing my grandparents was the worst thing that has happened to me in my life up to this point, and losing my parents will be the second worst thing, I hope, because otherwise it would be losing a child or something like that, and that I don't know anybody who could recover from that. I mean, you just don't. So losing my parents is going to be the worst thing that ever happens to me, I hope, in my entire life. And it's going to be horrendous. But up to this point, losing grandparents has been the one. So anyway, we were out in a field, and tornadoes coming. This tornado's coming in, charging in. It's an EF5. It's just gigantic. And we're all out in this field, my family, and we don't know what to do. Don't know where to run. Don't know where to hide. We're just stuck. And we cover up, and the tornado goes by, and it seems like we survived it. Everybody survived miraculously. Everybody's okay. Everybody's good. And then I notice my grandmother, my mom's mom, and I see her head in a bucket. And I run over to her and I grab her by the back of the hair to get her head out of the bucket because I'm figuring that it's filled with water and she might be drowning. And when I pulled her head out of the bucket, I looked at her and her whole face was a skeleton. I could tell it was her skeleton, but her whole face was a skeleton. And it wasn't scary to me. Like, I wasn't afraid. I was in the dream devastated. I mean, just absolutely crushed, that it felt just like I lost my grandmother again in that dream. And when these things happen, it takes me some time, at least an hour or so, to shake it. I mean, it really does. I don't know if anybody else has that situation or has that feeling, but when I have dreams like that, I just don't recover immediately. It's not like, well, okay, it was just a dream and I woke up. No, it doesn't work that way. For me, anyway. For others, maybe it does. I don't know. I don't know. But that was a horrible dream. I mean, it was just something that's terrible. And as I said before, the past is such a big part of my life. I really look back a lot. And I'm getting better at not. I'm getting better at looking forward more than looking backwards. But I got to be honest with you. That's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. Something that's been really difficult is for me to just say, all right, the past was great and enjoy that, and then move on and say, okay, and the future will be just as great. It's just going to be a different great. That's all. I'm working on it. I'm not 100% great at it yet, but I will be. Someday I'll have it mastered, but that day isn't today. And a lot of the dreams are childhood dreams when I go back into childhood. And some of the dreams are really strange because I was born in 1974, and some of the dreams take place in the 60s, and I'm there in the 60s. And I could see that it's the 60s, and I know that it's the 60s. And I'm saying to myself, I'm not born yet. How am I here? I'm not alive yet. What's going on? And I'm seeing family members who were much younger at that time. I didn't know them at that age. I didn't know them looking the way they looked in the 60s. I only knew what they looked like really in the 80s because I was born in 74. So by the time we hit 1980, I was 4 turning 5. So there aren't a tremendous amount of memories from prior to 1980. Some, but not a whole lot. And that's normal for any kid. But I have these dreams that I'm in a world that I've never been in before. Dreams of relationships that are euphoric, as I said before, where it feels so real. Dreams where there's anger and My grandfather, a lot of times I dream about, especially, I don't know why. My mother's father, I dream about him a lot. He was a World War II hero. Um, he's in a famous picture from World War II where they're at the Elbe River shaking hands with the Russians. He's the one in the middle with a cigarette in his mouth. And he used to call me son all the time. And he would say, "Hey, son, you got to do this, or can you do that? Or, I'm proud of you, son." And "Hey, son, we need you to do this." Or, now that's as I get older, right? When I was a kid, it was a little different relationship. It was more, him telling me what to do, and all those things, disciplinary and a little bit. But as I got older, that obviously changed. And son, we need, I'm proud of what you're doing. He liked the fact that I lifted weights and did things like that. And now I have dreams a lot where he's saying, "Son, we need you." And I'm saying, "Well, what do you need, B-Pop?" We call him B-Pop. And he'll say to me, "Someone's attacking the family, and you're the one to go get it and stop this. You got to do it. I'm too old. It's up to you now." And I got to go fight these gargantuan people who, you don't want to have to fight these people. They're menacing and scary. And my grandfather's saying, "Son, we need you. You got to do it." So I do it, and I'm in these battles, and somehow, some way, I win them. But what does it mean? I don't know. I don't know what it means. Does it mean that I'm fighting for things? I'm fighting for my life. I'm trying to live up to my grandfather's heroism. I don't know. I don't know. We have two comments. Let's take those comments. Tony, yeah, that's his name, Tony. His name is Tony Bamara, or Anthony William Bamara. And Claire saying, "Journal these dreams." Yeah, yeah. The funny thing is, I don't really journal the dreams, but they stick with me. They stay just so tight in your brain. It's incredible. A lot of other dreams that I have are dreams where we're in houses that we used to own as a family. So grandmother's house, my dad's mom, my mother's parents, our old house in South Philadelphia when I was growing up, and houses that were a big part of my life when I was a kid. And we're celebrating holidays. We're celebrating holidays, and I'm thinking, we're not supposed to be here. This is somebody else's house now. Somebody else owns this place. And we have all these decorations up for the holidays, especially Christmas and New Year's, because those are my favorite times of the year. The holiday season to me is, still a magical time of the year. And we're in the house, and we have to hurry because if we don't get out of there, we're going to get caught. So we're in the house and we're trying to have this family party, but there's a sense of urgency. Like, we got to get it in quick enough before somebody finds out and we, get in trouble, arrested or thrown out or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen, but and we're doing this, and it feels like there's a time bomb going off in my mind as I'm going through these dreams. I'm sitting at the table and enjoying family and eating and trying to feel as normal as possible with the thought of, there's a fireball that's coming after you and you better hurry up and get this all in. And I take that to mean that maybe that's what I fear, is that I'm not going to get everything in the time that I have left. And I hope I have a decent amount of time left. I don't have 50 years left. 20 years ago, I would tell you when I was 30 that I might have 50 years left. But it's not 20 years ago. I'm 50. I mean, do most people expect to live to be 100? Probably not. It's not. The average is about 78. For men, it might be 76. I'm not living to be 100. So mortality is more of an issue today than it was back 20, 30, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, I was 10 years old, so mortality didn't really exist. But at 50, it does. So maybe that's part of the reason why I dream those things, because I want to get in everything I can get in before it's time to say goodbye for the last time and when it's over. Or maybe it's I want to get everything in while family members are still alive. I mean, my parents are older than me, obviously. They're, 20, 30 years from now, odds are at least one is going to be gone, maybe both. Now that would put them, well, certainly 30 years. I mean, that would put them in the 100 plus bracket. I mean, let's be real. I mean, most people don't make that. So I have a feeling of urgency that we got to get it all in. And maybe as I'm saying this, maybe I'm answering my own question why I dream this stuff. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's I feel that in real life, and I'm letting that transfer into my unconscious mind. Dr. Jacqueline, I just watched a 100-year-old woman finish a half marathon. That's fantastic. That's really fantastic. Yeah, I mean, obviously the exception, not the rule, but that's amazing that somebody's able to pull that off. I don't think I could finish a half marathon when I'm half her age. So, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and Dr. Jacqueline says it gives me hope. It does. It does give us hope. I like it when I see somebody over 50, over 60, over 70 doing things um uh, that they shouldn't be able to do. I'm, I, people ask me, they're like, you're 50. Now I have a back injury from a car accident last month, and I don't know when I'll be back in the gym, but people say, why do you still do it? You're 50 years old. Just give it up. Or why do you play hockey at 50 years old? Just, you're not a kid. Just go give it up. Why? If I can still do it, why would I stop doing it? I have people ask me all the time about playing pickleball. Now, I'm not trying to knock anybody who wants to play pickleball. That's fine. If that's what you want to do, if that's something that brings you happiness, do it. I'm not doing it. Pickleball to me is an older sport for people who can't play tennis because they're unable to run the same way that they did before. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not my speed. If I'm going to play a game like that, I'm playing tennis. I'm running the court. Everything's got to go hard. I don't go to the gym and walk on the treadmill and lift a little bit of weights. I go full throttle the whole time. I can't not. That's just the way I'm built. I just don't have the gear to say, well, I'm going to do this, but only just do it a little bit. So, getting back to dreams, I think a lot of times in these dreams, there's a feeling of urgency. There's a feeling of there's only a certain amount of time, and you have to get it done in that amount of time, otherwise you run out. Dr. Jacqueline just wrote, I thought that when I tripped and fell off a treadmill in an interval class, I faced a machine. So I guess she was apprehensive after that. I faced a machine 2 days later and said, "You do not win." So yeah, that's right. The treadmill knocked her down, but the treadmill didn't win. She got back on the treadmill and she ran it again. And I've seen her do solid core. We went to solid core together and did a solid core workout. And my neck was throbbing at the end of that. And that was before the accident. And she was a champ. She was doing it with weights and everything. I struggled. But my point is the dreams are telling us something. I don't know exactly what they're telling us. I do think people come to us in dreams and talk to us. I think people who have passed on, that might seem pie in the sky, that might seem hokey to some people. I don't care. I mean, if that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel, and that's okay. But other people don't. I'm one of the ones who don't. I feel that if that dream with Betty, for instance, I think I know that it was Betty coming to help me and said, you're going through hell, kid. This year has been destruction. Your life is crumbling. I got you. I got you. And over this last year, between divorce and possibly losing the house and struggles with my kids and their lives being disrupted and all the things that are so bad, my business crashing, my charity falling apart, all these things that are just piling and piling and piling and piling. And I've had dreams where people come and say, things are going to turn around. This is not going to be the end. This is just an end to one thing. Was that song say every new beginning comes from one other beginning's end? New beginning's end. It's true. It's true. So I'm restarting at 50, but I think when I dream, even the bad ones, they're telling me a story. They're letting me know something, or it's something that I'm drawn to, something that I'm scared of, something that is comforting, and hopefully people actually who have passed on come to visit and say, I'm with you. I'm right behind you. So that will bring us to the end of the show. I want to thank everybody who watched tonight, and for all the people who commented in, Rachel and Claire and Robert. I really appreciate chat. All the great people in my life that are so wonderful. And there's my website or my Facebook page for the weather, Beyond Just the Weather with Justin Mirigliani. I really do that a lot in the winter time. I'm a big snow fan. So a lot of teachers like to go on that site. And there's my charity site, Checkmates Charity. We're going to get that going again. That we struggled with that, but we're going to get it up and running again. So, and there's my website, just for you, training, computer training and consulting. But guess what? We do soft skills as well. We do time management, project management, other types of training, corporate training. So I do individual training. If you want to come over my house, or if you want to meet at your house or meet at a restaurant, I could do it anywhere, or we could just do it remotely. But yeah, reach out. I do consultation, all kinds of training, soft skills, computers training. So that's what I want to do. I want to build that business back up again. It's on the ropes, but hey, we're going to battle back. So we got it. I want to thank again everybody, especially Dr. Jacqueline. And thank you for watching, and pay attention to your dreams. Maybe something's being spread to you that you haven't thought of. And maybe, as Claire said, journal them. All right. I will see you next week. I have a very special guest next week. We're going to talk about the Pelle Lindbergh movie that's coming up in November. So I have Charlie Min, who created the documentary. So you got to make sure you see that show. All right, everybody. I'll see you next Monday.
Nestled in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Horseshoe Farm has always been more than a destination. It's a living, breathing reflection of community, connection, and transformation. Once a humble family farmstead, it has evolved over the years to become a sanctuary for travelers, seekers, families, and friends alike. Originally reimagined by the Turchin family as an Airbnb property, the farm began its journey into hospitality with simple roots, welcoming guests to experience the beauty and peace of the sacred land. As word spread and the vision deepened, the property organically blossomed into a boutique resort, rooted in the values of slow living, intentional experiences, and the magic of gathering. Today, the Horseshoe Farm is a 90-acre experiential retreat that merges hospitality, wellness, and culinary excellence. It is home to the Stable Spa, the Silo Cookhouse, distinctive lodging options, and a curated calendar of events that nourish mind, body, and spirit. Our guest experience is designed to be both grounding and expansive, where the comforts of luxury meet with the simplicity of nature. At its core, the Horseshoe Farm is about transformation of land, of self, and of community. We are proud of where we've come from. We are confident in who we are today and excited for the road ahead. Hello, I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, also known as the Listening Mentor and President and Founder of USA Global TV and Radio. I had the opportunity, the pleasure of attending a retreat at the Horseshoe Farm just recently. I was so impressed with all of the opportunities that were presented to me in this glorious setting, as well as the highest level of customer service, that I've decided to put together a retreat at the Horseshoe Farm in Hendersonville, North Carolina, United States of America, June 3rd through the 6th, 2026. You can expect to have a beautiful time of relaxation combined with learning, community, collaboration. Do consider joining me in this wonderful opportunity to reconnect with yourself, with others, and with nature. For more information, email me at drjacqueline@usaglobaltv.com.
Every woman carries a story of strength, of purpose, of light. Through her courage, the world is transformed. Through her grace, generations are inspired. This is Iconic Women. Within every woman lives a goddess, a celebration of brilliance, beauty, and empowerment. Join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. London time, only here on USA, Global TVR, and radio. Featuring the iconic Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, honoring voices that shine across the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, to watch and engage with all our content. World-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.